So now that it appears that Pete Hegseth may be a better choice for, I don't know, running the D.C. Liquor Board than Secretary of Defense, who should Trump pick? I like that guy, but with Hegseth on his way out, it looks like Trump is hard at work trying to find a new ass-kisser for probably the most important cabinet position of all. But wait, it looks like Donnie has made a decision.
Well, a new report suggests the president-elect could now be looking for a replacement. NBC News Chief White House correspondent Peter Alexander has the details for us. Peter, good morning.
The Trump transition team, notably, is still publicly standing behind Hegseth, even as discussions emerge that the president-elect and his team are considering possible alternatives.
Two sources familiar with the decision-making tell NBC News Trump is considering Florida governor and former GOP rival Ron Desantis as a possible replacement.
Ron Desantis, the governor of Florida, would be a great Secretary of Defense, you know, if the U.S. is ever invaded by RuPaul.
Are y'all excited?
And DeSantis, well, he's not exactly loved by those close to Tiny Fingers. And people close to Trump aren't forgetting what Ron said on the campaign trail.
He's running in 2024 on the things that he promised to do in 2016 and didn't do. He said he was going to drain the swamp. He did not drain the swamp, not even close. We ended his presidency with Anthony Fauci running the country. You couldn't even fire Fauci, and so now you're going to go drain the swamp? Give me a break. He said Mexico was going to pay for the border wall. Do you see the border secured? I see people coming in infinitum. He said that he was going to lock Hillary up, just like he's now saying he's going to do a special counsel for Biden 2 weeks after the election in forget about it.
And Trump's people remember how DeSantis treated Wiles, Tiny Fingers' incoming chief of staff. DeSantis accused her of leaking to the press and behind-the-scenes work to banish her from politics before Tiny Fingers brought her back into the fold on his 2020 campaign and got her to run his political operation after he left the White House. Anyway, so Wiles and J.D. Vance, who sees DeSantis as a rival, both hate DeSantis. But DeSantis does have something going for him, these hot boots, and his mother hadn't ratted him out.
In a 2018 email to her son obtained by the New York Times, Penelope Hegseth wrote, "On behalf of all the women, and I know it's many, you have abused in some way, I say get some help and take an honest look at yourself."
Democrats see DeSantis for what he is, a Trump wannabe with an even smaller penis.
Something else must be small. I guarantee you there's no problem.
DeSantis adopted the anti-LGBT, anti-trans, anti-woke, anti-science position in Florida and rode it right through the state capitol. But as you just saw, the two of them, like a lot of people in Trump's orbit, went back and forth over who's the most uninformed dick.
The topic, COVID-19.
Governor Ron Desantis shut down Florida businesses during COVID.
Former President Donald Trump's campaign offering this latest attack, accusing DeSantis of locking down the state.
Lockdown Ron. He failed Florida. Don't let him fail America.
The governor's campaign quick to respond, featuring clips of the former president commending his once ally.
And you're open and you didn't close and it's just amazing, right? Look at what's going on in Florida. It's incredible. The job the governor of Florida has done, it's incredible.
Now, DeSantis, whose face resembles a thumb, has some little Marco issues, as Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman pointed out.
I'm considering voting yes on DeSantis if he finally admits that he has lifts in his boots. I'm sure he does. I think maybe 3 inches, 4 inches at least.
So Florida man joins a gaggle of Trump appointees that beg the question, how low does this bar go? And how far will the GOP Senate go in confirming people like Tulsi Gabbard?
He's essentially pimping out our men and women in uniform to a foreign power who's the highest bidder and saying very blatantly and very directly, well, hey, look, they're paying us for them. He is unfit to be our commander-in-chief. And what he is doing is dishonoring the service and the sacrifice that every single one of these service members is doing for our country, and the service and sacrifice that their loved ones and their family members go through.
Or Kash Patel.
I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state. And I'd take the 7,000 employees that work in that building and send them across America to chase down criminals. Go be cops.
We're going to come after the people in the media who lied about American citizens, who helped Joe Biden rig presidential elections. We're going to come after you. Whether it's criminally or civilly, we'll figure that out. But yeah, we're putting you all on notice.
Or Linda McMahon for Secretary of Education. And of course, crazy RFK Jr.
She was a babysitter for him in 1999, 1998. And he made some advances on her, unwanted advances on her, groped her, she says.
Now, Florida man has this going for him. He's been a governor of a huge state, and he isn't an alcoholic who locks women against their will in his hotel room. But can DeSantis command the respect of world leaders when Trump can't even get 50% of the American vote? See, the problem with DeSantis is no one likes him.
Your campaign said the other day that the knives are out for you at that debate. I got to ask you about that. Plus, I got to ask you, I know it's not your campaign, but never back down, put out a memo that people are talking about. So I'd like to get your reaction to both.
Well, on the memo, it's not mine. I haven't read it. And it's just, I think it's something that we haven't put off to the side. But in terms of the debate, look, I know from the military, when you're over the target, that's when you're taking flack.
But remember this, DeSantis is a Florida man where alligators eat poodles and 75% of the Republicans that live there don't believe evolution is real. Oh yeah, and there's leprosy.
On top of that, Florida is also now facing a problem of seemingly biblical proportions. A spike in cases of leprosy. Yes, I did say leprosy, saints. A situation not made any easier by the fact that two of the top public health positions in DeSantis' administration, responsible for tracking and preventing the spread of communicable diseases, are currently empty.
Leprosy, what's next? A plague of locusts and the four horsemen? You know, in drag, of course.
We reject woke ideology. We fight the woke in the legislature. We fight the woke in the schools. We fight the woke in the corporations. We will never, ever surrender to the woke mob. Florida is where woke goes to die.
Okay, so here's the problem with that. No one can agree what woke is. Most of us say, okay, it doesn't seem fair that a 200-pound, 17-year-old male transitioning should be able to swim with 100-pound girls. But the GOP turned it into this.
The transgender thing is incredible. Think of it. Your kid goes to school and comes home a few days later with an operation. The school decides what's going to happen with your child. And, you know, many of these childs 15 years later say, what the hell happened? Who did this to me?
But the real question is, will Trump get back on his meds and appoint people who have some idea how to do the job? Because Trump has already promised the job will be hard.
He said, yes, let's say that happened. No, I would not protect you. In fact, I would encourage them to do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah, Tiny Fingers just gave the finger to NATO and gave Putin a warm feeling in his groin. And that alone, under normal conditions, would have politically destroyed a Republican. But as Cheney said, this is a shit show, albeit with consequences.
Say this to my Republican colleagues who are defending the indefensible. There will come a day when Donald Trump is gone, but your dishonor will remain.
But in many ways, Florida man and Trump are the same.
And this guy's personal life is a total disaster.
DeSantis' anti-woke agenda also includes banning the teaching of slavery in the U.S., other than a cursory mention, and the events that led up to the Holocaust. And of course, Florida is the home to Mar-a-Lago, where Trump once entertained this hump.
Men win again. And yes, we control your bodies. It's your body, my choice.
I don't know what to say. I mean, it looks like the next Secretary of Defense will be like the rest of Trump's cabinet. Someone with zero credentials other than the desire to service Tiny Fingers. But don't fret, Trump can teach you how to do that.
Damn right. I'm as mad as hell. This is not a normal election.
Whether the women like it or not.
Suck my fat one. This isn't their Republican Party anymore.
Trust me.
Shut the fuck up, Darren. Who's with me?
Oh, yeah, the lie.
Indictable.
Out of sheer morbid curiosity, I'm allowing this freak show to continue.
I don't want to talk about this stuff.
Am I wrong?
Yes.
Tick-tock.
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.